Hello everyone, so welcome to part 3 of this Ally router video series. It was reset in the previous video. We're going to go ahead and set it up again. This time using either Wi-Fi connecting straight to the router, or we can plug it into a computer using an Ethernet cable. We will go ahead and connect to the router. Currently it's actually flashing green. Oh, not anymore. It's actually solid now. So depending on what the status of your router is, but it was reset in the previous video. So let's go back to our Wi-Fi settings. The Wi-Fi name is no longer what I set up in the previous video, so it should be the default of, in this case, mine is amped ALLY21C. I'm going to tap on that. It says it's connected. I'm going to go ahead and open up a web browser. You can type in, I believe it's setup.ampwireless.com or 192.168.3.1. In the previous video, it asked me for an access code when trying to access it after setting up with the app. So let's go through this setup instead. You can either go through the setup process through here, or you can do a setup manually. But let's try the automated version of it here. Let's see if that'll let you do anything. It should let you set it up. Almost done. Tap next. Alright, so now we can set up the 5 gigahertz name. Let's just do like the same thing I did in the previous video. Ally 5. Password, we'll just temporarily put it as password for demonstration purposes of this video. Tap next. Alright, it wants me to do a 2.4 gigahertz name. We'll just do Ally by itself. We'll do password again. Hit next. Here's the access code portion. So this part did not come up when in the previous video when setting it up via the app. So here we have to create an access code. I don't know how long it has to be, but let's pretend I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can probably do, I don't know, a mixture of of numbers and letters, but I don't think it wants letters. Not sure, but you guys can mess around with that and see if it will let you. All right, it's finished. So the router is now solid green, as you can see right there. All right, so it says, please reconnect your mobile device to one of the following new networks. Use the settings below to connect. So that's what I configured it with. Let's go Ally 5. Type in the password. Connected. Let's go back. Tap OK. Alright, so for my demonstration purposes here, congratulations, it's set up. So 2.4 gigahertz network, 5 gigahertz network. Access code for the web menu is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll hit finish at the bottom. So now we have the access code screen. So we type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We should be able to log in. And here we go. This is the web interface for configuring the network. I will have to cover up some of this information because some of it is my IP address. So this is the main dashboard screen. I'll cover the bottom part. So it gives us an overview of what our network names are. So there's Ally, Ally 5, security key is not shown. There's guest network settings there as well. So we can do a 2.4 gigahertz network or a 5 gigahertz guest network. Currently there is one connected user. That's my cell phone that I'm holding. USB storage port is not used. So that USB on the back of the router can be used as storage. So a network storage. Parental controls you can turn on or off, so if I website blocking basically. Let's go to the left side, more settings, and here are some more settings that we can do on this router. 5 gigahertz settings, there's basic, that just goes through, okay, the band information, so you can set up 5 gigahertz A, N, or AC and turn on or off the network radio for that SSID. channel width, number, beamforming, MIMO, so multiple in, multiple out antennas. WKA mixed mode is the encryption. Although I believe you actually should be using WPA2. It's actually the safer one. I don't know why it's everything set to auto. So ideally, if I were you guys, set up as WPA2 and then use a personal pre-shared key, and then the cipher suite use AES because that's the most safest as of today. There is WPA3, I believe, coming out, but that's not a lot of routers use that yet. So if I were you guys, use WPA2 AES instead. Don't use the auto that this thing came set up with. All right, guest network settings. So in here, you can create up to 4 different guest networks on the 5 gigahertz channel or the bandwidth. You can broadcast them. So these are not enabled right now. The check boxes are not checked. You can tell it to give it internet and local access or just internet only. So ideally, guests should only be able to access the internet. You can add password encryption to that and show the active members or devices connected to that particular network. So that's pretty cool. You can create 4 different ones here. And to select the password, you just pick the guest network name and then the type of encryption key. And you can rename your guest network. So that's pretty cool. Advanced settings. Looks like you have, whoops. You can change your, okay. You can select your thresholds. Those are the defaults it came with. Beacon interval, aggregation, enable or disable, aggregated frame number. I have no idea what those mean, to be honest with you. Wireless coverage is a neat section. So you're able to change how strong the coverage of the wireless network is. So currently the 5 gigahertz is broadcasting at 100%, meaning full coverage. So if this router right now and the Wi-Fi extender were both connected, so I don't have the Wi-Fi extender connected currently, but if they were both connected, ideally they advertise that the two together should be able to broadcast up to 15,000 square feet. So that's with everything at 100%. Pretend you're at a house, maybe it's small, or you're living in an apartment, then you can always lower your power rating so it doesn't cover as far. That could be good or bad depending on how you look at it. It could be a good thing because if you don't want other people to hack into your Wi-Fi and have the ability to see your Wi-Fi, it's kind of good to keep it at a smaller coverage. But problem is, if you walk away, you obviously won't be able to connect to your router. Let's say when you're in an apartment or something and you walk downstairs to the lobby, or you walk outside, throw the trash out. It's up to you. All right, access schedule. You can set up the router to broadcast certain networks on certain days, certain times, which network. So it's kind of cool. Wi-Fi protected setup. That's pretty self-explanatory if you want to connect using WPS instead of a password. So you do WPS and you can set up using a pin usually. So that's how that works. 2.4 Wi-Fi settings is the same as the 5 gigahertz. The only difference is that it's 2.4 gigahertz instead. You can set up 4 guest networks using 2.4 gigahertz, so same as the 5. Advanced settings, I believe, are the same. This time it's different fragment thresholds and stuff like that. Wireless coverage, you can modify, lower if you want. Access schedule and WPS, it's fine. Network settings, local LAN. Let me see if this is safe to show you guys or not. Yeah, this is going to be the same for everybody. So you guys can change your IP address if you guys want to. The router's address is 3.1. Subnet mask, so it's a class C address. You can change the starting IP address range for your devices. So this device might be 192.168.3.100, and you can connect up to, in this case, 100 because it goes up to 200. But you can change that if you want to start it at 2. So 168.3.2 up to 3.255 or 254, because that's the highest number of addresses you can assign to devices. Least time 480, so 480 minutes in this case. So after 480 minutes, it's gonna renew its IP address, domain name, amp wireless, whatever. Leave it defaults for now. WAN is definitely, I don't want to show you guys. That's going to be the, actually, I thought it's going to show my IP address, but it's not. So it's just DHCP automatic IP address. And you can change your DNS settings. So if you don't want to use the DNS domain name server from your internet provider, you can set to manual and you type in, for example, 8.8.8.8 as one of them. That's Google's DNS server. Advanced settings there, we can enable universal plug and play, IGMP proxy, ping, IPsec, enable web server access on a WAN, remote management, port 80, that's kind of cool. All right, security features, blocking websites. So we're able to filter by URL, so you can add websites you want to block, or you can block so you can block websites. So add a list of websites, and then you can add the device MAC address and name it. So you can, let's say one of your kids uses a certain cell phone, whatever, type in the MAC address of that cell phone. Device name could be, child 1, whatever your name of the child is, or child something cell phone. Tap the MAC address in there, add it in there, then apply it. Then whatever websites you have blocked on here will be blocked on that particular device. So that kind of does work. Website blocking does not work with websites using https://. You would have to type in the website without using https://. So you would need just www dot the website name. So the example they have up here. User access. You can set up a schedule for users that are in that parental control MAC address thing, we're going to call it. So you do, so certain devices you can set up to only be able to connect on certain days, times, whatever. That's pretty cool. User access, same thing, it seems like. Only difference is IP filtering instead. So the first option earlier, the MAC address, you're filtering by the device MAC address. So each specific device has its own MAC address, so that would be the ideal way to filter. But you can also filter by IP. So it's the IP address of the device. So my device here is connected with, should be 192.168.1.100. Then you could block just that IP. But problem is that if your device somehow renews its IP and it's no longer .100 and somebody else gets .100, then you can see where the problem comes in. USB storage, so we can connect a flash drive or a hard drive to the back of the router as network storage. Mine is turned off. I have nothing connected to it right now, so device status is not connected. Pretty cool. FTP, file transport protocol server, neat. You can set that up as well. Currently have it as default. It's disabled currently, but you can set that up as well, so you can access your files remotely using an FTP client. Pretty cool. Firewall settings here, so you have firewall capabilities, so you can port filter. You can filter certain ports that you don't want to use. Port forwarding, you enable that if you want to enable remote access, port forwarding, or remote desktop to your devices or to your computer. That we kind of could do that through here. DMZ, demilitarized zone. That's more for advanced users, but you can set up as well. Denial service is pretty neat for those that are gamers. For those that want to block your chances of getting DOSed, then you can turn that on, and you can turn on various types of DOS attacks, so denial of service attacks, so whole system flood, SYN, FIN, UDP, ICMP, per source IP floods, IP spoof attacks. You can do the teardrop attack, the ping of death attack. So this gives you a lot of a lot of ways you can kind of manage that. So it's kind of cool. You can change your quality of service settings. So there are certain things that you want to limit the bandwidth or download speed of certain addresses or certain MAC addresses or certain devices, you can do that as well. So that's pretty cool. And last tab here is management, system status. We currently have system status info. Okay, so it gives me everything about the devices or the settings that I have. Network statistics, you can see how many packets sent received from each network. So 5 gigahertz has a shit ton of packets sent and received. That's my phone. Wired network is 477. Interesting. That's, no, I guess that's the modem plugged in. And then the internet connection itself total, which is pretty cool. Dynamic DNS, you can change that if you want. System clock, I believe it might be well, it's on Reykjavik. So you can change that to your time zone. So you might want to scroll up to America, whichever time zone you're in. So in my case, I would be considered America, Chicago, even though I'm not in Chicago, by the way. Hit apply once this is done. All right, system logs. So you can enable logging. So if you want to see any specific information about your router, you can reboot it from the web interface. That was pretty cool. You can actually auto reboot your router on a schedule. So if you guys know that some routers, if you just leave them on for a long time and all of a sudden the router just glitches out and just either stops working or your connection keeps dropping, you can set up a auto reboot, so the router will actually reboot itself weekly, daily, depending on the schedule that you pick. And that's kind of cool, so you don't have to manually reset your router because you know that your router has an issue or your internet connection has an issue, then you can tell the router to restart itself, which is kind of cool. The upgrade firmware section. So this is where it failed on the ALLY app. So currently it's on version 1.02.08. Build time November 2nd on Wednesday. Is that right? 2016 Central Standard Time. Interesting. The firmware was built at that date and that time. Maybe there's a new update. Who knows? But it's searching for one right now. You can manually check now or upgrade manually from a file. So you go on to Amp Wireless's website, look up their support page. Maybe they have a file that you can upload directly. Save and reload settings. You can save all your settings that you messed with in here to a file, so you don't have to, configure settings every single time. And you can reset everything to its defaults. And then access code info, so you can change your access code. But mine was 1234556. So you guys can see that's a overview of every single setting or feature of the ALLY app, or sorry, the ALLY web configuration screens. And you guys can see that there was no mention of AVG in here. So even though it has security features like basic parental controls, the website blocking stuff, it's not as convenient as the app. The app, if it worked, were to let you go into a certain tab and you can select, adult sites off. You can set up, set gaming sites off or whatever the toggles were. I don't remember what the screenshots look like, but that's what you're supposed to be able to do. If you are trying to purchase this router, the ALLY Amped or the Amped Wireless ALLY, it is a good deal for $30 at Micro Center because it's retails for $300. This particular one is $300 something plus dollars. And if you buy one of the cheaper ones, that's fine too. And it's also a mesh router, so therefore you can connect it to the extender and have expanded coverage in your home, which is cool. So the fact that you're getting a $300 router or $200 router, depending on which model, for only 30 bucks, hey, that's a pretty good deal. But that's only if you don't want to use the app, so no control via the app. But if you set it up via computer, via the web browser, that's all the settings that you need. Let's say you don't need the categories, you don't need to turn on and off the AVG protection with the app, then this router might be a good fit for you because it's cheap, 30 bucks at Micro Center, and even Amazon sells it for $120 something, and that's not even this model, it's the lower end model. So therefore, I'd say it's a good deal if you are pretty tech savvy and know how to configure your network settings with the browser. But if not, then you should look elsewhere, because you want convenience with the app. I would suggest looking for a different router, maybe a Netgear router, or maybe TP-Link, Linksys. Those are the other ones. But other than that, that's a full review and configuration overview of the setup screens via the web browser. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down below in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for future updates,